Find out, I'm sure, in a little bit. For now, the Udyr priority is going to be locked in. I think we've seen that throughout the tournament. Once Morgana and Rumble fall off, Udyr seems to rise to prominence because his clear speed still not really affected, and even after the nerfs to Chem Tank, funnily enough, even after the nerfs, he still runs really fast and he still stuns you with a single auto attack. So he kind of does what he was so good at before.
And we see the Lee Sin Kaisa locked in here for Gillette Infinity. Lee Sin seems to be one of the strongest top laners in the meta right now. His ability to gain lane priority, his ability to dive into the backline in teamfights works very well for Infinity here. And then alongside that, a diving buddy, Kaisa, always with that killer instinct, can get onto the backline. It does look like DFM are eyeing up the Tristana themselves though, and we'll lock that in.
Okay. Want to know what's really good into Lee Sin top?
Hit me. Nocturne? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it! Why do I fall into these traps every time?
Nocturne, come on, show it to me. I'm a big fan. Oh, no. I do not like this. I do not like this at all.
I'm going to say, Vedius, your personal preference doesn't matter at all to this game.
But there's, it's not about personal preference, because I really think that the problem with Gnar is, while it does have some early pressure, I think Lee just beats it. I think that in the top lane, the dueling power of Lee is so powerful, and he has so many tools to get on top of the Gnar as well. So I'm not a fan of the pick, especially when we think about DFM's win condition. It has been playing through Evi, giving him a strong top side of the map, giving him something that he can have a lot of agency on, and you've now put him on Gnar, something that's traditionally left on the weak side. And that's not to say that Evi won't be able to have an impact, but I feel like that when you found so much success through your top lane, moving away from that is something that does concern me, especially when Infinity is clearly suggesting to me that they want to play through top side and actually try and shut Evi's impact down. So we'll see how the rest of the draft plays out. Right now, DFM do have pretty strong scaling. They are suggesting that they want to play more towards the late game team fights. We're looking at something like a Rel, a Leona, or maybe even a Nautilus, Alistar, these sort of engaged supports to come out alongside Kazu. We know that he's been playing a lot of these engaged supports. The big question is, what will they put Aria on?
It's always one of the main questions when you look at Detonation Focus Me. I do wonder if Kazu will look to something like the set that he played a lot domestically and does give you a little bit of engage, a little bit of disengage as required in these fights. Rise banned away, Sylas taken away. It was Cody playing Sylas into Aria's Renekton last time, where Cody really popped off the last time these two teams met. And there's the set ban from Infinity. They are respecting the fact that Kazu is well known for his set.
So, what will DFM now look to take off the board? They could potentially remove a support that they don't want to have to deal with. They could also ban out mid laner if there was something that they had in mind, but there was always the risk that Infinity will lock that one in and then save their support for counterpick. They're going to continue to ban out mid lane. I'm surprised, because I thought that they would actually blind pick the Victor. It does suggest to me that they're thinking of something like an Orianna, perhaps. Not that I'm a massive fan of Orianna against the amount of dive that Infinity does have. Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. I think Victor would have been really good here.
Let me hit you with something. What do you think of Seraphine in this DFM comp?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. It's one of Aria's like signature champions, and he is very good at it. I know it was nerfed a little bit on 11.8 and 11.9, you know, Moonstone nerfs, etc. There's the Syndra lock-in, and it looks like Aria is, he wants to be a little bit more aggressive than perhaps a Seraphine.
Is he? About the hovers.
Well, I mean,
oh, okay. Let's go, Aria. Now I'm excited. There was a lot of hype surrounding Aria as a player. Whenever you speak to some of the LGL experts, they always tell me, keep your eyes on this mid lane man. And now he's being given the LeBlanc. So he has to clutch up for his team today. Very risky pick for sure. If the LeBlanc doesn't get rolling, like, bear in mind, DFM have drafted themselves a very strong team fight comp, right? They have a standard front to back, and you've just thrown a LeBlanc in there. In terms of what it wants to do, it doesn't really make a huge amount of sense. So you have to play through this LeBlanc. You have to unlock her on the map early.
Do you want to know Aria's all-time win rate on the LeBlanc?
Tell me.
He has played 9 games, and he has won 8 of them.
Wow.
This guy has an 89% win rate on LeBlanc. Hasn't played it at all this year as far as I can see. But T is going to be trying to win the matchup that he lost last time in this mid lane up against Cody. Ackerman locked in the Nautilus down in the bottom lane to team up alongside that Kaisa we've already seen. Nautilus into Trist is great because if she jumps away, your ult follows her to wherever she lands, so you still manage to get the knocker.
The funny thing is, if you swapped Syndra and LeBlanc, their comps would make a little bit more sense. You know what I mean? You have so much dive on the side of Infinity. It's all about getting onto that back line, trying to burst out the carries as much as you can. A LeBlanc would make sense in that, but I think Syndra's going to struggle to try and actually follow up on a lot of that. Of course, her ult plus E combo can be very threatening, whereas DFM have a little bit more of a standard front to back. You have so much front line with the Udyr, the Gnar, and the Alistar. LeBlanc perhaps going to find it difficult to have to deal with all this dive that's coming through, and how many targets is she actually going to have access to? We'll have to wait and see. This mid lane matchup is definitely going to be an important one for the side of DFM, whereas for Infinity, top side, this Lee Sin. Let's see if they can get this one rolling, see if they can shut down Evi, who's been a really key factor for so much of DFM's success.
It is not quite do or die for either of these teams as of yet. You can lose here and still make it through to the Rumble stage. However, a loss here makes your road that much harder. You end up having to beat C9. You end up having to beat Damwon Kia to make it through to the next stage. A win here paves that road in gold, makes it much easier for you to get on through. Let's get on into the game. Detonation focus me up against Gillette Infinity. And I wonder if we'll see any early action from these junglers. For now, looks like a little bit of a split. Steel has gone up towards the top side on his lonesome, and the rest of Detonation Focus Me are protecting his bot side jungle.
Bit of a stack up towards the red buff from the side of DFM. They've invested 2 early wards. The pings have come out from Infinity. Here we are. Information will be gathered. How will DFM respond? Going to slowly move into the bush. They know that
getting a bit of Vedi Attenborough right here.
You know, it's chill. You know,
and here on the river of life.
Another invade up towards the top side. Oh, it's just, you know, calm early game. We had a very hype, exciting first game.
I'm still coming down from the adrenaline of that one.
Like, I'm just bringing the chill, bringing the mood down. So right now, it looks like SolidSnake looking to path from top side to bot, which does surprise me a little bit. We kind of expected the early path up towards the top side. Perhaps that is due to the fact that Infinity expects to have the prio in the bot lane 2 versus 2. We actually saw this 2v2 matchup in our last game. And the reason why initially C9 got that push was because DK pulled for their jungler. This time around, that's not happening. You can see it already in the lane.
WhiteLotus going to get knocked up immediately. Explosive charge going down. Exhaust has already been used here by Yutapon, and Detonation focus me with the Ignite ticking. Yutapon will not flash in. It would have been flash for flash if he'd gone for it, you have to think, but already that's the exhaust out from WhiteLotus, and he has no HP. He has popped both of his potions as we see a bit of trading in the mid lane.
So that really surprises me, because he wanted to get into the lane early. However, they had a ward on the enemy red buff. They should have seen that this duo was not pulling. So WhiteLotus just walks into melee range of an Alistar who has Q at level 1, and he's just like, yeah, hello, make this easy for us. The good news for WhiteLotus is he doesn't burn flash, but that priority will be lost, which means that contesting this bot lane early scuttle is going to be harder. I'm curious as to whether or not Steel will actually invade enemy bot side. He has that ability. They could split the map here with the priority that Yutapon and Kazu do actually have. You can see they're already roaming up into the river. A little bit of information has been gained. He's not going to do it. All right, so they're just going to stick to the standard pathing for now. Yutapon and Kazu, the good news for them is they will have a wave kind of bouncing towards them, which will make it a little bit harder to gank. The risk of a dive is there, but against an Alistar, level 2 even, can be a little bit risky. So yeah, okay, this Lee Sin has to be a little bit careful with Steel pathing up towards the top side, and again, Infinity should be aware of this. Buggax should know that he will not have jungle assistance, and with the wave where it is, Ebi's just kind of letting it push towards him, and kind of putting Buggax in that awkward position.
Importantly, Buggax did use his ward for a ward jump trade in the top lane, so he doesn't have a ward to put down in that river, meaning that if we do see Steel going up there, Buggax will have to use his intuition and his game sense rather than any vision he could get on the enemy jungler. The warding totem, of course, has a little bit of a cooldown, so we'll be back up relatively soon. Steel takes the top side Scuttlecrab. Ackerman and WhiteLotus able to force Yutapon and Kazu away, as SolidSnake will get the bottom scuttle for himself. And I wonder if Steel will go the long way round here. We saw Blabber do it in the last game. Instead, he is just going to back away and get himself up towards that turbo chem tank.
And we can see SolidSnake hovering around the bot sides. Yutapon and Kazu showing a lot of respect. And like this is that stacking wave we were talking about, but of course, very difficult to actually dive it. So now what's going to happen is Infinity is going to look to reset. Ackerman's going to be back out on the map first. And so this is where mid laners now have to be careful because anyone in solo queue probably will have experienced this before and you're really confused as to why that level 3 Alistar is now suddenly in your lane. It's because their AD carry has gone back to base and there's a little bit of time. To have a look in your minimap, you can see Ackerman looking for that rope. And DFM, that risk of Kazu doing the same thing is also there. So Cody now looking for that reset. So the level 5 reset, very common for mid laners, has supports come on by, drop a little bit of vision. So very standard stuff so far here in the early game.
And the expectation always is when you watch Gillette Infinity that most of their early game fighting will happen through the bot lane. I believe it was 78% of all of their kills at the 15-minute mark happened in the bot side of the map, in that bottom lane, a lot of them going over to WhiteLotus. And Ackerman is just setting up vision down towards this bot side river. So we'll see if SolidSnake works his way down here once again and tries to get the veteran carry on Infinity ahead.
Always a possibility. I also want to note that Aria was forced to use his TP in that mid lane, largely because Cody was able to get that earlier back timer off. Of course, doesn't have the TP as well, running the Ignite, which is a little surprising to me in a pro play game. At first, I thought that he had Spellbook and he had swapped over to the Ignite, but he is just actually running it alongside the Electrocute. And the main reason why you don't run it in competitive play is because TP is OP. It is so good for things like priority, because if you mess up a single base, if you die in lane, if you do whatever, a mistake, TP can like rectify it and can actually mitigate a lot of it, whereas with Ignite, you don't. So it's a very dangerous summoner spell to run, and if you don't get any value out of it in the early laning phase, you won't get any value out of it at all, as that TP helped Aria get level 6 first, and now has forced a flash out from Cody.
Cody has just hit level 6 himself. Steel and Evi looking for the dive here. Buggax gets the Dragon's Rage, has the Gick to try and disengage. Steel's gonna run in. Bear slaps, but you have to feel Buggax should be able to walk his way out of this one with the Dragon Rage kick still available as Evi goes forward. Tries to get away, but the flash under the tower and the house landing on his face was enough. Detonation focus me with Burst Blood.
Don't even think they needed that flash. The damage coming out from Evi would have been more than enough, but you know what? They're going to take it. First kill up towards the top side. I'm surprised that they haven't invested more towards Buggax. We already saw it from the very early jungle pathing. SolidSnake investing a lot of his time and resources down towards the bot side of the map. Of course, you don't have to get Lee Sin ahead, but I feel like in this matchup, it's really valuable to try and put Ebi behind, and DFM doing what they often do, ganking top lane, ganking for Ebi. The Lee Sin lost a lot of farm up towards the top side, and now he's going to be behind.
And Ebi has so consistently been a carry for Detonation Focus Me throughout the course of this tournament. You can see up near the tops of the kills and assists early game, gets gold leads early games, it has CS leads at early game as well. Like, he is so consistently a carry for Detonation Focus Me, and he's been with them for so long and been alongside Steel for so long that I'm not surprised DFM are focusing that top side of the map.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical of the pick, as we talked about in draft, largely because I don't think that it would give Ebi the same agency to be that big carry that he has often been for this team. But for now, he's making it work, and I think a large part of that is because SolidSnake is not investing up towards the top side. They're just letting Ebi do Ebi things, and he's happy to take that and start to build up these leads. Meanwhile, across the board, we can see mid lane, slight advantage for DFM, bot lane in the same situation. That has resulted in about an 800 to 900 gold lead in DFM's favor.
It's good to see Aria having a stronger early game than he did last time these two teams faced. By this point, he had been solo killed by Cody on the Renex and Silas matchup. Ebi perhaps, well, he knows SolidSnake's there. You want a ward, mate? Ebi knows that the Volibear is there, and he still stays around. Here comes Steel. Dive is on, but no one's taken aggro as of yet. Buggax the first to do it. So he tanks the tower. Stormbringer coming out as well. SolidSnake will disable the turret. Ebi looking to try and get towards that Mega Gnar. You can see Cody has worked his way up towards this top side as well, as Gillette Infinity wanted to make sure that the dive would go without a hitch.
Really well played there, and that was Steel not having his flash available to avoid the damage coming out from SolidSnake and Buggax. Really good focus. This is going to allow SolidSnake to steal away some of these top side jungle camps, and Cody was also able to move first because of the priority that he's able to get in the mid lane 1 versus 1. So good stuff from Infinity answering back towards the top side, and I want to see them do this a little bit more as the game progresses.
For now, they should just be happy getting that single kill. Did go over to SolidSnake, so not the priority target, but he gives them the opportunity to get towards that turbo chem tank a little bit earlier. It gives them the opportunity to get towards ganking that little bit earlier. So we'll see if he is able to use that slight gold advantage that he has acquired. Rest of the map has been relatively silent. You can see, a 6 CS lead down towards the bottom side, 5 or 6 in the mid lane. Mid lane's pretty even, only top lane an advantage here for Evi, but overall, both these teams seem a little unwilling to make big plays in the early game, or only willing to make ones that they know will work.
I think it's been fine for the time being, you know what I mean?
I just want more action.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you had a slow early game, game one, slow early game this time around as well. It's just the nature. Oh, no.
SolidSnake's going to land the stun. Aria uses the first jump to try and get away. And will be able to escape. Cody really didn't have the mana to do anything there, as Steel was able to secure the Rift Herald while all of that was going on.
All right.
Okay.
What I would like Steel to do with this Herald is use it mid.
Yep.
What I think he's going to do is use it top.
Yeah, I think we can both agree on that one. Oh, no, Betty. Maybe he's listening in.
Let's have a look. So the reason why I want him to use it mid is because Aria, is because if you take mid tower early, it unlocks Aria.
Oh, war jump flash kick onto Evi. Hasn't got the mega building up. Buggax going to land the Sonic Wave as well, but here comes Aria, and Buggax is in for a world of hurt. First kill of the fight up towards that top side. SolidSnake's going to try and flash away. Aria still on the chase. Can't quite get the damage down with the Sigil of Malice. But now, Vedi, I can see something happening, and we did have a clue that it was going to happen. Rift Herald, you have to feel, is going to come down here from Steel.
It's not a bad choice by any means. Of course, you're going to get a lot of money into the back pocket of Evi. You're going to take the first tower of the game as well, and you're only going to further put behind this Lee Sin. So I don't think it's a terrible play. As you can see, 610 gold into Evi's back pocket. So this Gnar really has been unleashed. Even when he's not on a carry, Evi still somehow finds a way to carry.
Look at that difference in the top lane. 1,400 gold advantage for Evi. And then in the jungle as well, it's a 700 gold lead for Steel after that play. Mid lane basically even, bot lane basically even. No one has been bot, so it's not really too surprising.
So here we see a situation where Aria got a really good trade in mid, and Infinity's like, hey, we can force a play top, but they don't have the prio in mid. So that means Aria can collapse first, and of course with the numbers advantage, they're able to get this kill and force the flash out from SolidSnake as well. I was going to make a comment about TP versus Ignite, but in this situation, I think that the TP wouldn't have actually been available anyway for Cody. But regardless, we haven't yet seen him use that Ignite. And we'll see if it impacts more later on into the game, but really not a big fan of the Summoner spell choice, as Infinity will get themselves the first Drake of the game. Oh, they actually brought Buggax all the way down here as well to help solidify this one. He will lose a little bit more farm up towards the top side. We'll give Evi the opportunity to push out that mid. And now watch what happens mid lane, because this is something I have a huge amount of respect for Evi for. He uses his top lane pressure to then roam to mid specifically. He often threatens dives, he'll often threaten ganks, and I think that it's just a great way in which top laners that have huge leads constantly going back to top, I think, isn't a great use of your time. Instead, use your lead to try and either punish enemy jungle or try and leverage your advantage and bring it into the mid lane.
We often talk about they play through bot to mid, or they play through top to mid, and that is what DFM do. They play to get Evi ahead and then use his advantage. Buggax trying to trade here onto Steel. Ackerman's on his way as well. Smite goes down from Steel for the health, and Buggax will secure the red. Didn't go to SolidSnake, but of course, Buggax will be pretty happy having that on the Lee Sin.
Oh, meanwhile, look at bot lane. We can see Aria has made the roam down. WhiteLotus has been left alone here.
WhiteLotus still has flash, uses the killer instinct first, and the chains don't connect. Good dodge there from WhiteLotus to survive, but because of it, he loses 2 plates on that bot lane tower, and you can see Cody working his way across from the mid lane, but Aria can just jump this wall. Ackerman is there as well, but won't be able to get there in time to do anything, and Steel caught the wave in the mid lane, so none of this CS is falling either. Cody does have flash, is bare slapped, and here comes Aria looking for the chase, but Steel will just force Cody underneath the tower for now.
Really good stun from Cody. He doesn't stun the Udyr, he stuns Aria mid-dash as well. Largely to deny any potential follow-up. He knew that he could walk out because he had the Merc Tread. So really good awareness there from Cody. I like the execution. Doesn't lose his summoner spell, but now Aria lands a chain.
Scout of the week won't knock him out of root range, but does mean that Aria needs to be just a little bit more aware. You know, Unleash Power is a lot of damage. It's called the outplay button for a reason.
True.
Aria needs to watch his health bar when he goes in for trades like that.
Aria does have the ultimate backup now, though. Oh, Kazu does try to interrupt the back. Wasn't quite able to do it. SolidSnake has his eyes set on bot lane, but now, oh, here's the Evi plank we were talking about.
You predicted it already, Vedius. Evi coming in from the top side, Cody being like, oh.
No, steal, no! Oh.
I mean, there was a lot of caution pings coming from the bottom lane. Because they saw both SolidSnake and Ackerman leave. Right?
That was one of those situations where we see everything and Steel doesn't, so he has no idea how close that Syndra is. So obviously, like, that wasn't a mistake from Steel. That was simply just, we have God vision. Yeah. And as you rightly said, the potential collapse from the bot lane with SolidSnake roaming up, he could have been the one that was getting collapsed on. So that's why he chose to disengage there.
For the moment, Detonation focus me with a 2,500 gold lead, Vedius, extending that almost up to 3K at the 14-minute mark. And it hasn't been bloody. It hasn't been skirmish heavy. It has been turret plates going down in the top lane, turret plates going down in the bottom lane, and these small methodical advantages that they have gained. Kazu now shadowing Aria in the mid lane because they feel Infinity might want to do something. Scatter the Weak coming out. Dredgeline bends around the terrain, but Kazu is still able to flash away in time. That anchor was a little wider than I think it should have been.
Still, good punish there from Infinity. They're able to get the flash out from Kazu. One of the engage tools will now be mitigated. Fortunately for DFM, they have two more. Ebi and Steel, when they played against Cloud9, this was the trio that they relied on. The Alistar, Udyr, Gnar. It's a very effective and very powerful front line for you to kind of leverage. And it allows you to face check Drakes very easily later on into the game. I'm still yet to see the value of this LeBlanc pick. I think that it's gotten a couple of good trades against Cody. He was able to force his flash out, but...
Do you not hit the stats, Fetty? He's played it 9 times, he's won 8.
Yeah, I know.
It's basically guaranteed.
I'm waiting to see that turning point, because there's probably a reason why he picked it, but right now it's very much been the Evi show. He has his eyes set on a play in mid. Not too much going to come off the back of that, though, but SolidSnake.
Caught out just a little bit. Going to use the Stormbringer to jump away, and that's his health and disengage tool used as the dragon comes up in 46 seconds time. Detonation focus me, still struggling a little bit to crack this mid lane tower. You talked about it earlier when they used the Rift Tower top. Breaking open mid is just so strong when you have something like a LeBlanc, because you can hide in the pockets of vision that you then create. For the moment, those minions that push forward continue to get repelled by the Tower of Infinity.
It's interesting that they've kept Aria in the mid lane. Normally at this point in the game, especially once you hit level 11, you have 2 points in your ultimate. You want to move your mid laners off to a side lane and then actually have your duo in mid, because it's easier to maintain that safety and security. You have a lot more wave clear, and if, you know, Infinity do what they've done, it's actually easier for them to get prior, which means that they can then collapse first onto objectives like the Herald and the Drake. What I would love to see DFM now do is trade Drake for mid-top tier 3 and mid-tier 1. Because what they can do is with this Herald is they can just drop it mid, secure that tower, and while sure they'll be a little bit behind in Drakes, don't bother taking this fight, instead just take so much more map control. If you take the mid-tier 1, you can actually just then have full control over the top side jungle and deny as much as possible. Now, I love this. Have Yutapon pressure. I want to see Aria try and zone the rest of Infinity away from this tower.
That's what he's doing.
They're going to have to be forced to take the long way around. Yutapon should be able to get a couple free hits onto this tower. Evi with the collapse as well. Let's see if they can secure this one.
Aria has a perfect flank here. He jumps in for the double onto Cody, onto the backline, and Infinity are getting wrecked underneath their own tower. The tower falls, and Yutapon is eating Infinity for breakfast. 2 quick kills as DFM look for the clean ace. They do lose Steel, but Buggax now on the backline is going to have to try and flash across this wall. Ebi not willing to give it up. Aria not willing to give it up. It's a triple for the Gnar. And Detonation focus me just blow up Infinity.
They play that so calm, clean, collected, and like it was just a step-by-step process, man. We talked about it. They did it easily, and they saw the dive and made it a reality. Beautiful execution from DFM. They're gonna balloon their gold lead to 6K, make that almost 7. Exquisite performance, and hey, that's why you pick LeBlanc, right? Yep. 006, the 4-man ultimate I think he was able to get. We're going to have a quick look now at this new Axe Effects replay. So you'll notice that Aria coming in from the flank. They have numbers advantage in this situation because Ebi is already here. And then W into Everfrost, into ult. So much damage onto Cody and WhiteLotus before the play can even happen. Kazu's tanking up the turret. And then Lee Sin joins the fray, but too little, too late. The 4 versus 5 ends up in disaster for Infinity. They end up losing more than just their tier 1.
Scenario for Detonation Focus Me, more like a dirge for Gillette Infinity. As you can see, that LeBlanc putting out 2k damage. I mean, across the board, DFM's carries just putting out the DPS in that last fight. And as you say, 7,000 gold lead now. They've broken all of the tier 2s apart from bot lane. Infinity, it's such a hard road back here because you don't own your own jungle that much anymore, as DFM can push up and get the vision line. You don't have a mid laner who can pressure in a side lane because you don't have TP on Cody anymore, like at all, because he took the ignite, right? And so you have these 2 threat points of Evi and Aria, and you then have to deal with Yutapon, who has 2 items finished on this Tristana.
This is League of Legends on hard mode for Infinity, yes,
Yep.
Medic. They are right now investing towards the bot side of the map, and the good news is, because they've already lost everything on the top side, there is no trade that DFM can look to make. They might want to fight, as Aria does have the teleport, but it looks like for now they're just going to give up the tower. So DFM, really well executed. If they win this game, they will tie up with Cloud9 at 2-2 in the group. It's only going to make that matchup later on in the day so much more important. But you also mentioned Infinity. If they lose this game, they're not completely out just yet.
Not guaranteed out, but it's a much more difficult road for them. They'd have to beat Cloud9 and Damwon Kia, and that doesn't seem like the easiest thing to do, especially after Cloud9 took down DK earlier on today. Baron up in 7 seconds time. We talked about the vision line, Vedius. Infinity can see nothing. They have 1 ward near or in that top side tri-bush. Apart from that, they really don't have anything anywhere near the DFM jungle. And with Evi pushing in the bot lane, Yudapon's working his way across here. Tristana's so good at taking towers with the explosive charge. Buggax all on his lonesome trying to defend, but the stride breaker into the wallop. And Buggax is on the menu for DFM. Another quick kill for Detonation Focus Me as Steel secures it. That's the tower as well. They're actually pinging towards the inhibitor tower here because they know Cody is in the top lane and he does not have TP. You mentioned it right at the start of the game, Vedius, and right now it is working out so well for Detonation Focus Me. Inhibitor tower will fall as Yutapon gets the last couple of autos in. SolidSnake trying to dive in. Here comes Kazu as well. A 2-man knock-up. Cody with a scatter of the week. Evi's still somehow alive. The ignite is ticking, but it won't be enough. Yutapon kills off Cody. Evi does die on the backline. Kazu trying to do what he can, forcing Infinity away, and that is the inhibitor down. DFM 21 minutes in have broken the base of Gillette Infinity.
Absolute domination. And you know what? I gotta apologize, because I doubted Evi. You know, that's what I did. I said that, like, I don't want to see him on a Gnar. I prefer him on carries. And then he said, well, how about I just go and carry on the Gnar as well? Really good setup onto Buggax in the bot lane. They were able to... His chain CC was flawless as well. He ults, and then he, like, uses his W in the line, which means that regardless of what happens, Buggax is going to get stunned because he doesn't have flash. So that was just really well executed. Then the follow-up came, they get the tower, they get the bot inhibitor, and now they can even threaten the Baron. It's very early. They don't have the fastest Baron in the world because, you know, LeBlanc. But still, let's have a look at this fight once more. So after the tower goes down, DFM say, you know what, our wallets are bigger than yours. Evi does end up losing his life to the ignite.
Yep.
So it does result in a kill at the very least. However, it is at the cost of your inhibitor and your mid laner as well. So DFM just in full control. And I think that coming into today, many pros, fans, some analysts as well, like people across the world were saying that DFM are one of the favorites now to get out of this group.
Yep.
And I think that starting off your day with a convincing performance like this, people are going to be worried if they're Cloud9 fans. That game is going to be so important at determining who will be able to get out of this group.
I mean, it's so important because if they both win out until that game, and I believe it is our 4th game of the day, yeah, 4th game of the day, it's on that game. DFM have the head-to-head right now. They are 1-0 up. If Cloud9 lose that, even if they win every other game, they might still be out. Detonation Focus Me are looking for a play here in the top lane. Buggax actually has a really nice TP position as DFM are split up from Aria. The knock-up's going to land onto Yutapon, and Cody lands the scatter of the week as well, and this might be the turnaround. Infinity trying to trade in. Yutapon is already dead. Aria doing what he can down towards the bottom side, but he does manage to kill off Cody. A great Gnar from Evi into the wall. That's enough. Evi has had enough with this game, has had enough with this team fight, and doesn't matter if his AD carry is dead. Evi will carry. Aria here singing a song as we see Detonation Focus Me just clean up in the top lane.
It looked like a good fight for Infinity to start things off, but it did not end that way. DFM with the ace to knock down Infinity, looking to secure themselves another win in this group. And with those minions knocking on the door of the Nexus, they may very well lose this tower as well, but it seems that DFM not going to commit to anything. They're just going to reset, steal away some camps, and go back to base. Let's have a look at how this fight starts. So,
he runs a long way in.
Steel just kind of runs at the enemy. We kind of have to keep track of Yutapon here because he's coming up from behind, and then he's not expecting to kind of be left isolated as the ultimate from Ackerman comes through, the stun from Cody over the wall, and then the dive. And this is the dive that we were talking about, how it can be very difficult for an AD carry to play. Aria is then solo killing Cody, and then Evi is just like, yeah, you know what? I can still carry this fight absolutely easy. He takes absolutely 0 damage, really good ultimate into the wall, and really good team fight from DFM. They just have so much money right now. They're going to start off this Baron. Infinity will have to face check, and I don't think that's anything that they can do right now.
As soon as you do, SolidSnake just caught out by Evi and Kazu. He has to use the Stormbringer to get away. He is still dead. The final boomerang from that Gnar will take him down. There's the Baron for DFM, and with a 10,000 gold lead, this one is all done. But the singing, DFM way too far ahead, and we'll see just how much they get out of this Red Bull Baron power play.
Whew. Clean game from DFM. Infinity, they're going to be playing up against Darm1 next. It's going to be a difficult game as Evi dives in once more.
And Cody dies once more.
Yes, he does.
4th time of the game. What a difference it is from the first time these two teams met. It was Cody styling on DFM, but here DFM seem to have found their form. Aria kicked away, top lane inhibitor is the target for DFM. Bot lane still 50 seconds before that one respawns. Now mid lane, as DFM just do it by the numbers, work their way around, and they are pulling Infinity this way and that. Last inhibitor tower will fall, and the inhibitor has to be shortly after. Yutapon trying to heal up off the Krugs, I believe, as he will rejoin his team in just a moment. Not with them right now. There is a tiny window where Infinity could look for an engage, but DFM don't give them the chance as they back away.
Wow, they're actually choosing to reset. They still have 2 minutes on their Baron, by the way.
I will say, I remember this picture. You know, lots of inhibitors down, only the Nexus towers remaining. DFM playing up against a team that they're ahead against.
Perhaps they are learning to be a little bit more restrained after their loss to Darm1. What's crazy is if they had beaten Darm1 and then win this game,
Darm1 could get eliminated.
They would have been in such a great position. I think they would have even been tied with Darm1 at this point as well, which just goes to show how close and impactful that game could have been. But they will get that rematch later on in the day.
I mean, if they win this game and they had beaten Darm1, they would be top of the group.
Crazy to think, the evolution that DFM have made over the years. The LJL slowly on the rise, and they're looking to get themselves another big win here.
Yeah, Ackerman looks for the hook, but Evi is just too darn tanky. Ackerman first to fall, Kazu going in, Yutapon diving forward, and DFM have had enough of this. WhiteLotus falls, Evi gets a double. He's looking for more as he chases Buggax, Cody, and SolidSnake back onto the fountain. DFM will close out a convincing win. The Gnar on the fountain, he goes godlike. And Detonation Focus Me will take down Infinity.
11-2-4 for Ebi. That just shows me that it doesn't matter what champion is on. Ebi's just a carry player. This man has had such a huge impact for his team. The resources that they give him are not wasted. He is just so effective on the map. We got to see Aria's LeBlanc maintaining a very impressive win record. DFM are feeling confident right now, and it was a single fight that blew this game open, and they just snowballed off the back of it. Impressive stuff. I am so excited to see DFM rematch against Cloud9 and Darm1 later on in the day. But next up, Infinity, it is the game.
It's a must-win game.
It's the must-win game. They were not able to take down DFM, and now they're going to be going up against a very difficult opponent in Darm1. They're going to have to bring out everything that they've got to get an upset win over the current world champions. And it's going to be a difficult game, but DFM still feeling very confident going into their next matchup, which I think will be Cloud9 in Game 4.
Yep, game 4, Cloud9, DFM, but for now, Detonation Focus Me absolutely dominated this match. Let's take a look back at the top lane fight, which put them on their drive to victory, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Let's have a quick look at it. Vedi, oh, so it's the steal runs in, should die, but because they're so far ahead, DFM are still able to clutch out the fight.
Yeah, and I think that Infinity played it well, diving onto Yutapon, using the Nautilus ultimate, the Volibear ultimate, the Kaisa ultimate. Problem is, you also put yourself in melee range of the real carry of this game, Evi, where he's able to land a huge ultimate. And again, props to Aria being able to get that solo kill onto Cody. He had the level and item advantage to be able to find that kill, and then it's just a matter of chasing down the remaining opponents. And look at this flash E from Aria to guarantee the roots. No escape coming out from the Volibear. Means that it's a very easy teamfight win from the side of DFM.
And his first international tournament, I think Aria is really stepping up. We're going to head to a short break, and when we're back, down on Kia face off against Gillette Infinity.